Technology to support safe dependent transfers. In phase 1 of our process, which takes place in the nursing home, we look at 3 areas: basic activities of daily living, mobility, and transfers. In assessing the need for transfer technology, besides observing the person's function, we consider diagnosis, caregiver assistance, and anticipated setting. Certain diagnoses indicate a possible need for transfer equipment: spinal cord injury and multiple sclerosis, other neurological conditions like CVA or possibly West Nile virus. Individual assessment is always needed, but how members transfer and the benefit of lift equipment should be investigated for people with these diagnoses. We look at caregiver assistance. Hours of help and the age of caregivers are important factors. Having a transfer lift can make it easier to find and keep a caregiver and allow for one-person transfers. Transfer equipment allows older caregivers to keep caring for a client at home. And transfer equipment reduces client and caregiver injury. When recommending transfer technology, we look at setting. The majority of Colbert clients move into rental apartments. A few clients have moved into homes or condos owned by themselves or family. With rental units, we most often recommend systems that can be transported. With owned homes, we can recommend a more permanent system such as a ceiling track, but even this can be removed and relocated to a new residence by a contractor. Once people move into the community, we perform our phase 3 evaluation. Now we can look at ADLs, mobility, IADLs in the actual home. And we can look at transfers in the actual bathroom and bedroom. Sometimes members have received equipment through insurance, so we evaluate how that is working. We may need to provide additional equipment, including transfer equipment. And we always provide training as needed. Now I'll go into detail about different types of transfer lift equipment: stand assist lift, floor-based lift, and overhead track lift. The stand assist lift is also called a sit to stand or a stand-up lift, and this is often used in nursing homes. It's usually fairly quick to use, but there are some restrictions on who can use these. A patient must be able to bear some weight on the lower extremities, and it's used to transfer from sitting on the bed to a wheelchair or bedside chair. We don't recommend these much at all because of the weight-bearing requirement and because it can only be used for sitting to sitting positions. So if a person was lying on the bed, they would need to be moved into sitting on the edge of the bed in order to use this lift. Floor-based lifts are sometimes called hydraulic lifts or Hoyer lifts, and they use a crank mechanism to move the hoist. In our experience, insurance will only pay for a floor-based manual lift. Powered transfer lifts are electric and use a hand control to lift and lower the hoist. We have used Colbert funds to purchase powered floor-based transfer lifts for members. The advantages are that smooth lifting is more comfortable and safer for the client, and powered lifts put less stress on caregivers. There is a power conversion kit that can be purchased for a certain manual lift. Best Care is the one that we have experience with. So this converts a hydraulic lift to a powered lift. And we have used Colbert funds to purchase these on a few occasions. A floor-based lift can be used to pick an individual up from the floor, and that's a big advantage. Some individuals can crawl for independent mobility, and we never want to take that away from a person. So this lift can be used to pick an individual up from almost anywhere in the home. It also allows the caregiver to lift the person from the floor if they fall without getting additional help or calling emergency services. Floor-based lifts must have clearance for the legs. So as shown on the right, the transfer surface needs space underneath of the bed for leg clearance, or the legs must go around the surface, such as the powered wheelchair on the left. This slide shows some problem areas in the home. When using a floor-based lift, as shown before, the regular bed needs space underneath for the lift legs. And you can sometimes use bed or couch risers on furniture, but that would not work for a platform bed. And you can't use a floor-based lift to transfer someone into the bathtub because there's no clearance under the tub. There are tub slider systems to assist with bathing, such as the Tub Buddy, shown here on the top right. A note about flooring. Hardwood or laminate floors are the best option for moving a floor-based lift. Standard carpeting is difficult to push a lift on. Low pile carpet is a better option. We have used Colbert funds to replace carpeting with laminate flooring on a few occasions. A threshold at a doorway, a strip as small as 1/2 inch tall, can impede maneuvering of the floor-based lift. To address this, we would install a low-profile threshold or bevel the transition between rooms. Floor-based lifts can be used for toilet transfers. Some bathrooms are large enough for this, including having a large enough doorway to get the lift through, but many bathrooms are not big enough. A portable overhead lift system can be a good option for some people. This is most often set up over a bed, and it's used to transfer a person into a wheelchair or a shower chair. It can be used in other rooms, such as in the living room, to transfer onto a couch. So the pros are it's freestanding, can be used in more than one room, and it's good for renters and for traveling. The cons would be that the legs decrease floor space and sometimes get in the way during transfers, and it does take effort to disassemble and move this lift. Overhead tracks with powered motors are a third type of lift system. Contractors install tracks on the ceiling, and there are straight and curved track pieces. There are also two kinds of powered motors. The permanent motor, shown on the left, the motor stays on the track and only the spreader bar lowers, and the sling is attached to the two ends of the bar. With the portable motor, shown on the right, you can move the motor to a different track and use it in more than one room if you have more than one track. And this man is using a tool to help transfer the motor. A big advantage to the ceiling track is that there are no legs to get in the way and take up floor space. You will use the same slings with either the floor-based lift or the overhead track system. It's important to demonstrate a variety of slings with clients and have family and caregivers participate before we make a recommendation. Full support or universal slings come with or without a head support. And toileting or hygiene slings allow access to pants for clothing management. Split leg slings, shown here, can be easily removed in a wheelchair, so the client doesn't have to sit on the sling all day, and this is better for pressure relief. When people have been given a full support sling, we have used Colbert funds to get a split leg sling. Slings come in several materials. The polyester version is often more padded, and mesh slings are recommended for bathing so that they can hang to dry. Most of our clients get 2 slings so that they can be laundered, or if one is wet after bathing, you'll have a dry one to use. For reference, here are some of the major manufacturers of lift equipment. This isn't a comprehensive list, but we have had experience with these manufacturers listed here. You can go to the manufacturer's website to get more information on lifts and slings. So that concludes the material on technology to support safe dependent transfers. Thank you for your attention.